I'm Srinish Agarwal, and I'm going to talk about how outreach isn't dead, but bad outreach is the really one that's the killer in the market for what is frowning upon the name of the entire market out of its volatility, saying that where people are now saying cold email doesn't even fucking work, right? You can see a lot of this noise where people are referring right now to the 2018 playbooks saying outbound sales is dead in 2024, and I just sent 1,000 emails and I got barely 2 responses. It's a joke because you're not doing it correctly. Okay, I have been sending more than about 2.4 million emails over the past year, and I have been able to become the distinguisher in between the noise as well as the signal in the market, right? So you will have to so you can see if it's something that's been done correctly, you can see immense potential by unlocking outbound cold email and LinkedIn automation as a channel for your own company. Else you can just wonder whether it even works or not, and just keep on scaling your SDR team of cold callers, where you'd be missing out on a huge opportunity, to be honest. Well, you can see that email has really changed. You can see the recent case study by Belkins saying that there's at least a 15% drop of an average reply rate from the past 2 years, which is 100% true. Previously, we used to get, even without sending a really great email, we would used to see 6.8% reply rate, 7% reply rate, 8% reply rates. Now, I'd say not even 5.8. The reply rate we're getting is hardly 3.87% or 2% at an average across all of our campaigns for our clients, right? So there is a difference. You can see right now the benchmark, as I mentioned, is 3.443%. Really, it's going down and down and down because of the total market saturation increasing in the market. People are sending more and more emails without knowing how the fuck do you send emails. So the only reality is every single B2B buyer gets 15 plus cold emails a week. And I'd say here it's written 70%, I'd say 90% of all the cold emails are completely ignored, right? The reason behind it is because people just wants to believe in the behavior of pray and spray, which is what 90% of cold email campaigns actual GDM strategy looks like as of this point of time, right? You'll Which is called as the noise, and I assure you, in the next 3 years, they'll all be out of the market because even though cold email is getting cheaper and cheaper, the only people who are making the most amount of money are the ones who are the top 1%, right? Who actually know how to leverage this for good and are charging and are going to charge more and more money, where the rest of the 95% noise is just gonna, get less and less reply rates and are just gonna cry with their mom even more, saying why cold email doesn't fucking work. There's a bug that within 2% of 2% within the first 2 weeks of reaching out to a TAM, only 5. Yeah, the other thing is how buyers work is in a pyramid, right? So you'd see pyramid has 100%. This is what differentiates. But when you're sending out a cold email, only 10% of these buyers, which is the top of the pyramid, are the ones who are ready to buy and are in the market. The rest are the ones who are super interested, who are going to be buying someday, but not today. So you have to keep nurturing and nurturing them, but that doesn't mean that cold email doesn't work at all. Our primary work at Spark Labs is to make sure that we're able to create campaigns that starts with the low-hanging fruit, so that we can try to tap into these 10% of buyers first, right? How do we do it? By making sure we can leverage public level intent signals and data. Today, I was in one of the lectures at Revenue Cartel, which is our flagship educational program. I was on a call with someone where we helped them scrape through LinkedIn, and from just a list where we had the company details of someone, we were able to get their active job that the company was posting related to a finance and ops lead, and we were able to scrape through their entire careers page and the description of every single job detail to be able to find the exact job technographics that the company uses, like Tally or QuickBooks, which is never to be found in any technographic stack provider like built with, right? So you just have to think in so much depth, which only a top 1% player can do, and not the 95% of the noise. There comes the big deliverability cliff, right? Almost a year ago, you would see people sending 30 to 50 emails per day per sender, per inbox, right? And now that has gone as low as 15 or 10 per sender per day. The reason behind it is the Yahoo and the Google rule, which where they increased spam derogation or spam flagging by identifying most common copies and then just flagging them so that they go to spam directly. They increased that extremely and make it extremely strict for cold emailers to actually exist in the market. So right now, the stats is that even if out of 1,000, I'll say even out of 2,000 or 3,000, you get 3 or 4 spams, people backing you as spam, your deliverability infrastructure is fucked, right? So now you have to be extremely vigilant about what you are reaching out with, as well as why are you reaching out with. So in the copy, we have to start with something like actual introduction segmentation, which basically states why are you reaching out copy. You have to be hyper personalizing your entire copy and use all the advanced tactics that we do at Spark Labs to be able to really be protected and make sure that cold email is really working with you. The permanent tag is you have to be able to, you can't just, even though there was a limit where you can send 5,000 plus email a day on a Gmail, it's no longer exist, right? And yeah, it's just that all these properties have been extremely strict, right? Where even after running placement tests, like this is the main problem that really big companies face as of this point of time, where they don't even know that their infrastructure has been hurted so badly. And when they realize that it's been 5 months, 6 months, and they wonder why they're not getting any leads, right? The ideal infrastructure should look where if you are using G Suite, you have to ensure you don't use in a single domain more than 2, at max 3 inboxes, as well as every single inbox needs to include maximum of 10 to 15 per day. There's an AISDR trap where big tech companies like Artisan, who's raising millions of dollars of funding, are continuing to do so, and they promise pay per leads, where you pay $250 to $500 per lead or per meeting, and it works out good for people. But the real scandal is, which was exposed by TechCrunch, and I already knew because I'm in touch with the founder, is the fact that they have almost subpar 60 to 70% of spam, churn. So sorry, right? So, which basically means any account that sticks now are going to churn in the next 45 days or less. So, in this world, if you ask any GDM agency as well, what seems to be your typical retention rates, they will say it's less than 3 months, right? Which is true. So you just have to, as Spark Labs, tried our best to make sure, and our average retention lies somewhere between 5 to 6 months, because we just try to make sure that our clients are getting leads every single day of the week, right? The physics have been changed and the playbook should be changed too. Previously, as I mentioned, people used to go ahead and just focus most on sending by putting in the leads from Apollo, downloading them, and putting them into Instantly or Smartly, and then just letting go with their campaign. You right now have to invest at least on a couple of thousand on really good tools like that of Apify, Rapid API, Clot Code, a really good sequencer, and then comes intent-based tools, which are similar to that of Prospeo. There's a lot of them, right? I'd love to be able to show them, but you have to make sure that B2B and a lot more. You have to make sure whatever you're doing, your GTM strategy has a lot of signal-based intent towards it. As I mentioned, buyer signal level data. So that the targeting focus can be extremely basis of, even if you're targeting on say 95%, we have seen that signal based trigger outreach delivers 4 to 14 times higher response rate than that of normal outbound 1.0 version, right? Even though the cost per meeting is extremely less as well. Let me show you how that works, right? You have to make sure hunting for the 5% that you're able to hunt for the 5% of buyers who are the low-hanging fruits. And so a couple of strategies could include just making sure that they are hiring for a particular department that you want you to be added as a vendor, right? You have to make sure that you're able to de-anonymize every single identity of that's coming onto your landing page or your website, so you can make sure you can reach out to them. You have to do the same with the people who are reacting to your post, to your who are commenting on your LinkedIn or your YouTube, and you're able to push all of them in and create a warm signal of warm loop, right? And a GTM strategy, so that all the warm leads are able to get into your funnel first, and you can nurture them and keep nurturing them with cold and with say paid ads and cold emails, right? As well as there's corporate triggers. Say someone just acquired a new company, right? Someone just got merged. Someone recently hired someone new in their CXO or their leadership department. But you got the point, right? Essentially, we try to make sure that we're able to at least combine 2 to 3 signal, right, to be able to yield maximum connection responses. There you have seen that we have experienced a depth of single channel outbound as of now, and we try our best to make sure every single GTM strategy we construct includes a multi-channel or omni-channel approach. We would aim to majorly include, and our workflow would look something where we're sending email on the first day. We're able to see and send them a LinkedIn on the second day. Once someone replies, we're able to send them in an email instantly through our reply bots and get them called up through our voice agents, so that we can qualify them and directly book a meeting onto our calendar, right? We would also text them on the third day and make sure that there's a human in the loop multi-channel sequence that increases our positive response by at least to 47% compared to that of a single channel outbound. Even though that's so much volume centric, it's extremely important to have at least 7 touch points before a prospect decides to trust you and buy from you. That's why content is also really good. If you're posting consistent content while pushing down on ads or email, it works as a charm, right? That's it. This is Srinishka Shigbal. Thank you for your time.